Welcome back to Wes Explains Best. Today we're going to be talking about subtracting polynomials. This is the intro. Hopefully you've already watched the adding polynomials intro, so let's go ahead and get started. So here we have negative 5m squared minus 8, subtracting a negative 3m squared plus plus m plus 2. The key to these problems is anytime you have parentheses with a negative out in front, you need to distribute the negative to every term inside the parentheses. So once you do that, you get negative 5m squared minus 8, and all the terms inside the parentheses become the opposite sign. So you have plus 3m squared plus m, and then minus 2, because it goes from a negative 3m squared to a positive 3m squared, a positive m to a minus m, and I wrote a positive m. Let me change that real quick. To a minus m, and then a positive 2 to a minus 2. So all the signs change. Now we're just going to look for like terms here. So we have negative m squared and 3m squared. We're going to keep the m squared there, and then we just subtract the numbers out in front. So you have negative 2m squared. Next, we're going to look for any terms of m. So in standard form, we always want to write it in standard form. In standard form, we start with the variable with the biggest exponent and work our way down to the next biggest exponent. It doesn't matter what the coefficient is. We always want the biggest exponent with the numbers last. So plus 10 or plus whatever it is. The numbers without variables are last. So our next variable is m. There's no other m, so we're just going to copy the minus m. And then we have negative 8 and negative 2, which gives us negative 10. So that is our final answer. Negative 2m squared minus m minus 10. Negative 2m squared minus m minus 10. I'm just going to double check that. Minus m minus 10. Check our answer. All right, here we go. So we got another one here. Again, we're going to distribute. I would not do this in your head. You want to actually write this out. Otherwise, you will make mistakes. Even the best students will make this mistake, so you need to be very careful here. Negative 5b squared minus 8b, and then we're going to change the sign. So negative negative becomes positive 9b to the third. Negative negative becomes positive 5b squared. Negative negative becomes positive 8b. So now, again, we're going to look for the highest powers of b first. So the highest power is b cubed. There's no other b cubed, so we get 9b cubed. Now we're looking at our b squareds. We have one here. We have one here. We have negative 5b squared plus a 5b squared gives us 0b squared. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And then we finally have negative 8b and positive 8b, which is 0b. Now, what do we do with that? Well, if we have 0b squared, that goes away to 0. 0b goes away to 0. And then we're left with 9b cubed. And that's the only thing we write because everything else canceled out. 9b cubed. All right, we'll do one more. Again, what we're going to do is distribute here. So I'm going to go ahead and jump straight to writing this out. 6d plus 9 minus d cubed minus 6d minus 9. Again, you're just looking at each, if there's a negative out in front, you're just looking at the sign in front of each one and changing it to the opposite sign. So they all become from positive to negative. Now I'm looking at my d, looks like we have a d cubed, so I'm going to start there. There's no other d cubes, so I have negative d cubed. Now I'm looking at d squared. I only have one d squared, so I'm going to write him next. He's positive, put a plus sign. Then I have 6d and a negative 6d. That cancels out. It gives us 0d, and I don't need to write it. So you could write 0d, but honestly, I think it's going to confuse you. So anytime they cancel out, just ignore it. And then we have positive 9 and negative 9. Again, those are going to cancel out. So what's left? Negative d cubed plus d squared. Negative d cubed plus d squared. I'm just going to check to make sure that's right. Negative d cubed plus d squared. And good to go. Hopefully you guys will have similar success in your Khan Academy practice. Until next time, be good, be kind, be true, be nice, and be honest. Have a great day.